We still do 7 NUFC Matters shows for free a week. But if you want to support the channel, there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast or video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications options. Hit the thanks button to buy a super sticker. You can do this on the live chat too. You can also join our Patreon page or buy us a coffee at the link in all of our video descriptions below. We are also looking for sponsors. If you want our latest advertising rates and how you can get involved, then email John at nufcmatters1892@gmail.com.
Hush now, city kids, gather round for other mints. Hush now, city kids. When it came to me after so long, I didn't have no choices in the streets where I was from. When I think about the pain, I didn't have no choices. I took what I had sworn. Hush now, city kids, gather round for rubbing mints. Hush now, city kids. But you know, they wouldn't let you have it any other way.
Good evening, welcome to NUFC Matters. It is the Fans Forum. Apologies, it is a pre-record tonight. I'm busy in London, but from our perspective, we are going to speak for the next hour on Cup success and another win, George, to talk about. Smiling faces again on the panel, apart from one person. We'll come to him in a minute. But yes, Newcastle United 3, Birmingham 2, into the fifth round. And the treble's still on, George. The treble's still on.
Well, and after today's results, it's wide open as far as I'm concerned. No Liverpool, no Chelsea, no Arsenal. Gosh, you know, I still bet we get one of the Manchesters in the next draw. Never mind. It was fantastic. I mean, I had to watch it at home on the television. But I did say to some of the lads and lasses that were going that St Andrews wasn't one of my favourite grounds. It was always an awful place to go to. But from the pictures Darren sent, it looks like they've tidied it up quite a bit, the new owners. So that's something. And certainly the area around the ground's been tidied up because that was all slums and it's not now. So, but I know Davey and the lads in the wheelchairs felt they were shortchanged because they couldn't see the pitch. They weren't high enough to see the pitch, so they're watching the match from head height, as it were, which is a bit off, but never mind. Right, to the game. Well, I was worried initially when I saw the team he picked. I thought, yes, he'd make changes. I just thought he'd made one change too many, and that was confirmed in the first minute when they got the corner. When that corner came over, any one of four Birmingham players could have put that goal in. We were totally disorganised at the back, and it would have, you know, a Kieran Trippier organised that back would have killed that goal before it even got anywhere near the goal. But never mind. It helped. It made us get off our backside and show that we can fight. And with a team that's not played together like that, to come together and get out of it, gives them all a lot of marks for my estimation. No, it wasn't always pretty, and when you're battling like that, it never is. It was a good old-fashioned cup tie in that sense. But they went for it. They didn't get cowed because of the tactics of the other team or what they were doing. And so some of the challenges, particularly the ones that were putting people over the touchline, would have been fouls at Twickenham, never mind at St Andrews. It was just shocking, but never mind. You've got to live with that, particularly in the FA Cup, and that's what makes it different. And we did. All of that goes to the credit of those that were on the pitch and to a lesser extent to a manager for organising it. Bright spots for me, I thought Will Asula showed there's a footballer in there somewhere. He had them worried to death. His pace absolutely had them worried to death. Every time he got the ball, there were two people going to him, and if they couldn't get him down fairly, they were going to get him down unfairly. And he kept coming back at that as well. He kept having a go, and I was pleased about that, as I was with some of the others as well. The big change for me was half time, and how said he planned to swap Bruno and Tonali. Well, once Tonali came on the pitch, the game was ours. He controlled everything, and they couldn't. And the thing I love about Tonali is on 1-to-1, nobody gets past him. They can go sideways, they can go backwards, but they can never go past him. And he demonstrated that beautifully in the second half. Every time they tried to go down the centre, he was there and playing them out of the wing or taking the ball off them and playing it to our forwards. He was that it was a cameo performance, I think is the way to describe it, amongst all the huff and puff that we'd seen before. And the other one that came on that I was glad to see on and came on and did make a difference was our friend Jacob Murphy. His pace again troubled that side of the defence, and until then they had been pressing target and quite a bit, but it disappeared once Murphy was protecting the fullback a little bit and pushing them back on their side. In fact, it was noticeable how some of their defenders by the end were completely knackered. They were on their knees by the end of the match because they couldn't keep up with the pace. And that's all good news for us. It can breathe a sigh of relief that we have the ability to get people off the bench and make a difference. And we have that ability to resist the sort of roughhouse that we've seen yesterday sometimes. The other thing is, I don't know about you, I'm sick of all the pundits who can't decide whether the first goal was a goal or not. Well, it bloody was. We won 3-2. That's why it was a goal. But there was some this morning on, a man and a woman on, I can't remember their names, and they were arguing it wasn't a goal and showed a picture. And the picture they showed the ball was clearly inside the bloody post, which if it's inside the post, it's inside the goal line. So shut up, go away. You know, it was a goal. And instead of panning the linesman. But the other bit that it shows is that the folly of the FA in thinking that you can have half a competition with VAR and half a competition without VAR. That's absolute nonsense. The whole essence of the FA Cup is that the teams, whether they're park teams, other first division teams, or championship teams, or premiership teams, the essence of the FA Cup is that everybody starts and finishes the same. Well, they've destroyed that and made a mess of all that. It didn't help, but so exciting to watch. I really added to because Darren and Denise and others were sending his video while they were there, and that all added to my enjoyment of the whole afternoon. But hey ho, we're into the next round, and that's what matters. And it wasn't. I don't think it was lucky. It was scrappy, yes, but the first 45 minutes, God, end-to-end stuff. You can hardly catch your breath. But we lived up to it. That's the important point, and got through it and got a result. And let's see who we get in the next round. Because as I've just said at the beginning, it's wide open now with all the teams that have gone out after Liverpool going out today. So I'll leave it to that because I know people want to have their say. But I thoroughly enjoyed it as a football game. No, we weren't at our best, but the good thing is we fought and we won, even though we weren't at our best. Tonali, the star man.
Okay, Darren, you were down there pre-talking today. You were saying that you thought you must have been watching a completely different game to all of us who sat at home and watched it. You were down there. Give us your views.
Well, I was down, as you know, and I've watched the match back this morning, and I've watched a different game this morning. because I thought we were absolutely dreadful. The first goal, the linesman done a hell of a call because he cannot be 100% sure that's over the line. So to me, he should have just, it's a brave call. He should have not, I don't think he should have flagged it was a goal. If that's the other way around, we'll be kicking off the stadium, it wouldn't be a goal. So that's my opinion on that. But what more sloppy Dan Burn was, he got skinned a few times. He got an early yellow card in the first 15 minutes. So he couldn't make another real tackle. Careless. Kraft was a bit sloppy. Target was shocking. I thought I'd never see this day of the day. I was glad to see Murphy come on the pitch. That's how bad we played, boys. He was a bit more direct, and he should have scored. He should have lifted it. He should have scored. So I don't know why he hit it low, but he should have scored. Sulat done all right. He was very good, physical, pleasant. He needs to improve a little bit more. Longstaff was shocking. I would sell him tomorrow. I'll drop him off if he wants dropped off. I don't mind. And Nick Pope, I'm sorry. I cringe when he got. And I did a couple of good saves, but when the ball comes to him, everybody cringe. We were all saying that we don't trust him. He's just so slow when he kicks the ball. And then I know George, you were saying like Trippier would organise the first goal conceded. But where's your senior players? Where's your Dan Burns? Where's your Brunos? They should be saying, mark a man.
Yeah, but
I know. No, let me say. There's like your Dan Burns, your Brunos, your players who play regular, the squad. They should all know the squad, what they need to do. They shouldn't be giving the corner away in the first 30 seconds of the game. They should be doing better than that. And it's like, that's what it's so annoying. You don't go and give a corner away in the first 30 seconds and they go and score. And then you see them like the lights scored another one. Again, the player pulled away from the back post, and the lights scored again. But so it's like, to me, your Dan Burn, your Brunos, and your Kraft should be doing better. Like there's like coach senior players. I know like we made a lot of changes, but they're not kids, they're men. So they should pick up. They should pick up and walk better. Know the rules, because I'm sure Eddie's went through with them. I thought Burnham did all right, to be fair, to give a good counter stuff. They were a very physical team. And the referee was shocking because he missed a few. One of their players could be sent off. Wilson done all right, but it was like we got through at the most. Like, people say it was a good entertaining game of football. Well, I watched it back, was a good entertaining game of football. When you're there, people around us were saying we got away with that one today. We were lucky. And that's fans, what the match was saying that. We're saying that at each other. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I picked up coming back from the match. All after the match, we were saying that we got away. We were lucky there. We were sloppy in play, very slow, out of possession, having a lot of time. When Tonali come on the pitch, he did change it. And when Murphy come on, Tino played a bit better too, because Tino was pushing more forward. He wasn't doing that with Zula. So I think he had to hand back because Zula wouldn't defend that as well. So a few positives, a lot of negatives, but if I'm happy with Murphy on the pitch, that's how bad we play. So what does that tell you?
Okay, Tom, did you see the same game as Darren, or did you see the same game as George?
Well, I saw the same game as George. I always appreciate Darren's point of view, though, so I look at it with different eyes. But I think I figured out Darren's middle name today. It is Super. He is Darren Super Negativity, because I thought it was a fantastic match to watch. It was fun. There's nothing in the world like the FA Cup. There's nothing in the world. It was fun because it was competitive. And if you're a League One side going up against a Premier League side, you're going to try to be physical. You're going to try to slow down the game. You're going to try to make them earn everything. So I give hats off to Birmingham City. They came in with not laying down. They came in to give it their best shot. And that's why I love the FA Cup. Nothing like it. Part of things in the game that I thought Kraft did not so well defensively, but I thought he passed pretty well going forward. He had some good cross-field passes, some good lobs up. I was impressed. I didn't really know that side of his game before. I always knew that he was dependable. but I thought that was a big improvement for him. Asula, I think that his athleticism is certainly much better than his brain at this point. He made some poor decisions, but he can make up for it with just sheer graft and determination. And he's smiling all the time on the pitch. He wears his heart on his sleeve. And again, that was part of the whole match that I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed all the effort putting forth. And I don't want to talk about our goals. I want to talk about their second goal. That was a cannon shot from that Musoku or Wada, whatever his name is. That was a really amazing shot. So I wouldn't be as thrilled and as happy today if we wouldn't have got the result. But I was really pleased. I thought it was a lot of fun watching the match. It was my wife's birthday over the weekend. We were at our bed and breakfast, and we were able to get the game on the TV, and my wife planned our whole day around the match. And it wasn't a love-in as we were watching this match because we were both cussing and yelling at the TV and of all the fouls and etc. But I'm going to be the guy that's going to not talk too much about Newcastle United. I'm going to talk about Birmingham City. They came to play. Another ref, they would have finished with 7 people on the pitch, probably. But I thought it made for a real entertaining match.
Yep, certainly was. Martin, thoughts on the win at the weekend?
Do you know what I see? I see kind of what the lads have said. I see some of what George said. I see some of what Darren said and Tom. I think it was a game of, it sounds corny, but yeah, I think it was a game of two halves. I thought first half the start wasn't great, but, you know, Birmingham, to take Tom's line, I suppose, Birmingham are top of League One, haven't been beaten in 20. They're in fantastic form and they were at home. So you would have, I think we underestimated how quick and how strong they were going to come out the gate. I think with the players, as George said, you know, you get a bit nervous when you make wholesale changes. And yeah, I would agree. But I think for me, that's an opportunity for those players who are not getting the start in the Premier League to step up. And I think there was a lot of them in that game last night did not step up to how they should have done. I said kind of pre-chat before we came on, I thought Longstaff and Miley were very poor. They didn't control the middle of the park. They didn't establish a bit of control on there. I think defensively, we kind of got battered that first 20 minutes. Okay, we kind of ended up 2-1. I think Darren's right with the goal. With our first goal, I think if that was against us, there would have been probably holy war on. But I think those lads didn't step up. What concerned me first half as well was I think Tino has dropped off considerably, which is really worrying considering Trips hasn't played a lot of football, albeit against Arsenal, he was outstanding. So, you know, I think for me, the next couple of games against City and stuff, I think Trips goes straight back in for me into that position, especially if Burns got a niggle or Botman is out or whatever. So I think there was lads that had an opportunity in the first half and in that game to establish and put themselves out there for more selections, I guess. And I don't think they did that. I think Osula came off really well. I have to be honest, I like him on that right wing side more so than I do centrally. I think he could do a job there. If we had an issue with Murphy, I think Osula could do a really good job on that right-hand side, kind of coming in and cutting in. I think Murphy and Tonali coming on, as the lad said, I think changed the game. We took control. Tonali came on. He's just so composed. He steadied the midfield. He gave the other two lads a bit more time to get a bit more on the ball. Obviously, Longstaff kind of played the ball through a good pass, but some of the play from some of the players was fleeting. I think Kraft coming in didn't really put a foot wrong. I would agree with Tom on that. I think he did a good job. But I think, again, with some of the lads, I think credit has to be given to Birmingham. It was a hostile kind of crowd. They were well up for it. As I said, they're 20th in the league. They haven't lost in 20 in the league. They're top of League One. And you have to give them credit. You have to give them a bit of credit for that. They came out to play. They're putting the tackles in. I think second half, I think the ref lost control of the game, unfortunately, the last 20, 25 minutes. And we're probably lucky that one or two of our players that went into the Hordens, like especially the likes of Willock, that we didn't get some serious damage. And I thought the ref was poor in the last 30 minutes, and he let a lot of bad tackles go. that could have resulted in some injuries, because there were a few times where Birmingham players didn't play the ball, they played the player, and I thought that was bad form from them. But look, at the end of the day, we're through, we're in the hat, and I think that's all that counts. But I think some players on that bus back last night, the likes of Longstaff and a few others, and I know I'm probably singling him out, but they had their chance, and I don't think they took it, would be my view. But look, we're in the hat. As George said, a lot of teams have gone out, so we're still in three fronts. So, yeah, crack on, lads. Let's go again in the next match.
Great stuff. Ian, good evening, mate. Through to the next round, and it is starting to open up when you look at the teams that are through, and the teams that are out, especially we've already mentioned Liverpool out now, Arsenal out. Obviously you've still got the big guns, Bournemouth in there, our bogey team. But yeah, it is starting to open up a little bit. What's your feelings on Newcastle's performance of the weekend?
A bit of everything that everyone else has said. I'm a bit like Martin. I think the main thing that came out of it for me was I absolutely loved Osula's performance. Even the bit where he kicked the ball onto his own heel from 1 yard out in an open net. And I just think the bloke's hilarious. I don't know what it is about him. He makes me laugh every time I see him playing football. I'm smiling, and I just think, well, we've got two now, and they're both playing on the right-hand side, because I thought he more than proved that he can come in and play on the right-hand side and support Murphy in that position. So I think that was the key thing that I took away from it. The other focus that I had on it was I really enjoyed the match. It was end-to-end. I didn't enjoy them kicking lumps out of our players very much, but I thought the ref had lost control of the game when he gave that yellow card to Dan Burn. From then on, it looked like he'd lost his head completely, and he got worse and worse. But yeah, good. I thought it was an entertaining game. There were some poor performances. I'm not going to go on about them too much. We got the job done. And in defence of Longstaff, I'm going to say he was shite, but he's always shite. Until he's had 3 games in a row, in my opinion. He needs a few games before he gets into himself, and then he does get better. But yesterday wasn't a great day at the office for him. That's got to be said. That's about it.
All right, Pablo. A lot of people giving Sean Longstaff stick. I did see on the professionals on Sunday that unfortunately for him, he plays in a position where he's not going to be getting the praise. He's just got to spoil play, break it up, and he's never going to be Tonali, Bruno, or Joe Linton. He's still a valuable squad player to me, and he does listen to criticism. He does read criticism. I sometimes think that some of the stick he gets, is unjust. He may not have had a good game, yesterday on Saturday, but does he deserve all of this stick, Pablo?
He never hides, Steve.
No, when we say stick, no, he doesn't deserve stick, because the lad's a local lad. He does try, he does give it his best. I don't think that he is the answer. He never was the answer. But I think that disappointed me about Sean yesterday was this is his game. This is his time to shine. He's usually deemed as one of Eddie's steady dependables, and I don't even think he's kind of turning up and doing that when he's given the chance. He's almost highlighting himself for criticism because he isn't giving us that 6 or 7 out of 10. He's struggling to meet them standards. I mean, he does have good games. That's the problem with Sean. He'll come in and he'll start looking like a player again, and we think, there's the lad. And then all of a sudden he drops off. So it's for me, it's consistency. I don't mind if he's a 6 or 7, but to me, he's not even meeting that at the moment. But he wasn't the only one, mate. Back to the game. Really nice to see an FA Cup tie that's played with just a referee and 2 linesmen. As a football purist, it's great to see. Yeah, do you know what? We got the decision. Fantastic. So big up for that. Birmingham, huge respect to them. Although I said in our chat, they have spent 30 million in the summer. So yeah. They are going forward. They're looking at a big boy new stadium, so they're on the up. So we met them at a time when they're on the up. I think the changes Eddie made, he's kind of damned if he did, damned if he didn't. If we'd have gone in with our full strength side, people would be saying, well, why didn't you give the lad the chance? Why didn't you give the Longstaffs, the Milers a chance? So for me, he played the right call, because after that game against Arsenal, we expended a lot of energy against them. I mean, albeit we won convincingly in the end, but we were playing at a tempo against Arsenal that was, I'd say, probably the best I've seen us play for a while. So to come into Birmingham and do the same, I just don't think was ever going to happen. I think Darren's right. I still think certain players have given me food for thought, and certain players have just confirmed what I thought of them. And I'll go with, same with Darren, Nick Pope does not fill me with any confidence whatsoever. And fair play, the lad's coming back from injury. He's not been playing regular, but this has been going on a long time in my mind now. I'm just not confident in Pope, and I don't think he covered himself in glory last night, bar that last save that he did, which, let's face it, was a cracker of a save. So for me, Pope is a no-no. I think Kraft was a steady Eddie. I think he did himself no kind of harm whatsoever. I think Target was not the best. I think he was average at best. For me, the disappointment was Longstaff. He looked sloppy. He looked behind the play. He just didn't look with it. And that was playing against, like you said in the chat, Steve, a few times, that was playing against a League One side. So really, that's the kind of game he should be taken by the scruff of the neck. Positive things, Asula, I absolutely love the lad. I think he's a bit of a rough diamond. I think he'll come good. But the lad's a third choice striker, you know. He only gets his chances here, there, and everywhere. So he can only do what he can do. But what I enjoyed was the fact he was getting a lot of stick off their fullback or wide player, and he'd give it him back. You know, so he shows he's got that fight. A lot of times when Premier League teams go and play lower division clubs, the kind of chat that's given against the Premier League lads is, oh, they wouldn't be able to mix it up. Well, last night, do you know what? We mixed it up. We matched them. We took what they had. Quality shone through in the end. Thank God. Murphy coming on did make a massive difference. He give us that natural width, and he caused them problems with his energy and work rate. Callum Wilson was pleasing. The lads, I hope he's come through unscathed. It was nice to see him on a pitch again. But yeah, do you know what? We're through to the next round. We've beat Birmingham. We're a decent side. We didn't cover ourselves in glory. We weren't amazing, but do you know what? We've done what we needed to do. And just to finish on that, I want to say well done to Plymouth Argyle.
Yeah, Plymouth Argyle pulling off the shock of the round. We'll still be seeing Ronnie Radford's goal at the start of match of the day, unfortunately, though, for the next 25, 30 years. Barry, Jacob Murphy for England. He changed the game. He changed the game, said Darren.
I know bad we played though, Steve. Correct.
It's scary, Steve, because in the first time in a long time, I probably agree mostly with what Darren said. I thought first half we were absolutely woeful. I thought we were terrible. We made them look as though they were the Premier League team. A lot of the time, Target was poor for me. He shouldn't be anywhere near the first team. He's only there because there isn't anybody else. I'm not blaming Longstaff because I thought the midfield as a whole were poor. I thought Bruno was missing for a lot of the time and he didn't give the support to the two young ones that perhaps needed, which the difference was when Tonali came on, they looked much better players. I just don't think they were getting the support. And I know they probably didn't have the greatest game. And I totally agree with what the guys have said. I think Longstaff needs to run in the team to get anywhere near his top form. But I thought Bruno let them down. I have massive concerns about Asala. I know he had a good game. But you said it, Dave, and certainly John Anderson, when I was listening on Radio Newcastle, said the same. He's playing at his level, possibly. He's playing at championship level. He's not a Premier League player. He looked good against the first division team, but then compared to him, Murphy coming on looked amazing. What does that say about him? Everybody says, oh, he's an able deputy for Murphy. I wouldn't want him coming on to replace Murphy in the side because I don't think he offers the same thing. He's meant to be a striker, for God's sake. He's not meant to be a right midfielder. And now it looks as though we're trying to fit him into another position on the side.
Not got much choice, have we?
Well, that's it. I might be proved wrong, guys, but I don't see enough in him at Premier League level to prove he's going to be a success. I think he's going to be another of these has-beens and we're going to end up selling them on. I just don't see it. He's not a 17, 18-year-old kid who's going to develop massively. And to say, well, he's now a decent right winger. What?
Oh, he played well on the right.
Yeah, but it was against, like they've said,
He's average on the right.
You know what I mean? A team who were, yes, they were very physical and they had some reasonable players, but we should have walloped them, really. With the side we had out, we should have walloped them. I totally agree with Pablo. I thought Pope was a joke. I just think he made a couple of shots, stopping saves, but it shows how good Dubravka is in the games we've had him, because the defence looks so much more confident. We set off so much more quicker. The possessions away. Pope just slows everything down. He's with his inability to play with his feet. He like Darren said, it looks like the fans and the defence are shitting themselves every time he goes to kick the ball, because they don't know where he's going to put it. It's just as likely to go in the stand as it is going to anybody else. And I think Dubravka, for me, is now way ahead of him on that basis alone. I would be looking to sell Pope, because I think he's now injury prone, and obviously he's not improving. George said it at one stage that if you would think behind the scenes the coaches would be working with him, improving the ball with his feet, and working with him, and he's never getting any better. Whether he's at that age now where he's not going to improve, but it's Steve. You hit it on the head on the other show with Stu. We're through 3-2 win. We'll move on to the next round. There's lots of big guns gone out, but I think we could have done a damn sight better. It wasn't a good game. For a Newcastle fan, it wasn't a good game. For somebody watching it as a neutral, totally agree with what the guy said. It was a bloody good cup match. Not as a Newcastle fan.
I think a lot depends on how you approach your game, but I knew there'd be changes. I mean, the lads on the Amigos were laughing at me and saying it was unlike me to make a prediction, as I did. I said Newcastle would probably win the game 4-2, and I expected 7-8 changes, and that's what we got. And that's what kind of game you're going to get against a team that's top of the league. Don't forget, Birmingham have had a hell of a lot of investment. They're top of that league, and they're top of that league on merit, and they're going to be a championship side next season. And I think they could come straight through that championship with that kind of money. So I think Birmingham were underestimated by the fans. I think before that game, the good thing is Eddie Howe didn't underestimate them, and you know he got it right. He got it right. He rested the players he needed to. He brought the players on that he needed to at the right time, and I get criticism of players. I get it. I'm not saying we can't criticise players, but I think, you know what, with Nick Pope, it's great that he's got that kind of competition. He's fighting for his place now. I don't think we had that prior to this. I thought we were a Nick Pope injury away from people going, oh my God, Dubravka's going to come in and it's going to be a nightmare like it was last season. Dubravka's come in, he's earned the shirt, he's kept the shirt, and now we've got two goalkeepers who aren't perfect, but who are competing against each other. So I think hopefully going into the Carabao Cup final on the 16th of March, we're in a much better position we were than going into the last Carabao Cup final. We've just got to hope we don't get hit with injuries from other people. And I'll weigh into the Longstaff thing. I think Longstaff is not the future, but don't forget what he's done for the club. He's been a great servant. I think if we're talking about offering Callum Wilson another 1-year extension, which is the big rumour at the moment, and people are talking about giving Kieran Trippier an extra year and giving him a coaching job. You know, I can see them tying Longstaff down as well. It's just the way we are, unfortunately. The FFP will dictate what we do, and Eddie Howe doesn't really want to break up the dressing room drastically, and you just never know. But we'll always have opinions on different players. I don't think you could sort of wholeheartedly say it was all Longstaff's fault yesterday. And I think Barry, you made the best point about Tonali. You know, Tonali came on and he changed the way the game was. He changed everything, and it's because he plays with such a cool head. He covers the ground the Bruno can't cover. And I think he made the big difference yesterday. I thought as soon as Tonali came on, we had an air of relaxation, confidence, and you just knew we were gonna. You knew he was going to win the ball and give the ball, and it was just a lot better. Asula, he's raw talent, but he's not young. You know, we've been through this on this program before. He's a young lad. 21. What is he? 21, 22. But he's not a young lad as far as a footballer is concerned, and he's not Premier League class. Can he do as a job on the right-hand side if we have an injury problem with Murphy? I'm sure he probably can. But is he the future? I don't think Asula is the future. Eddie Howe's still got a lot of work to do with him, and you can see why he's not being trusted in the Premier League berth. But as we all know, it's make, do and mend for Eddie Howe at this moment in time. And until he gets some serious money to spend and Mitchell can go and bring some decent players in, hopefully in the summer, this is what we're stuck with. So that's where we're at. Jeff, what was your feelings on the game on Saturday against Birmingham?
Well, I enjoyed it. It was a proper FA Cup tie, and I really quite enjoyed it. There were moments as a Newcastle fan, it was a nightmare. And it was good to see Callum Wilson back on. 41 seconds, he had the ball in the net. All this, it's difficult for Longstaff. It's difficult for the whole team because they don't get to play regularly, and they've got to appear, and they do need time to adapt to playing real games. And as for Birmingham, their brutalist school of sort of blitzkrieg football. Well, we ended up with 12 minutes of sort of injury time to treat the wounded. And the whole atmosphere, as the post-industrial smog came down later on, and the atmosphere got wetter and damper. It was quite an interesting game, and that last 12 minutes, where they found that, that was that seemed to last forever. But I don't think you can blame Longstaff for the reason, as everyone has said. When you've got Tunali coming on, he's going to make anybody, look poor. He's just, as soon as he came on, which is, I'm a bit disappointed for Bruno. I don't think Bruno is playing particularly well at the moment, mainly because I think we've got Tunali to look at. We've got that on this. We've got that to look forward to. He's going to make any midfielder look fairly ordinary. Though Miley, at one point in the first half, got the ball, turned on a sixpence, and I thought that was impressive. And by and large, I enjoyed it. Yeah, proper FA Cup.
Yeah, proper FA Cup game. 5-goal thriller in Newcastle into the hat. Magnus, what was your views in Iceland of the win at the weekend?
Well, it seemed like a great atmosphere game and a total sort of battle between those two clubs. What Jeff said, not every day Callum Wilson gets to score both ends, does he? But he managed to do that. I thought it was an enjoyable, old-fashioned raffle. With how they got away with all the kicks. It just took me back 30 years or something like this. In a way, it looked like a preparation for the Super Bowl. Some of those tackles that I saw. But all in all, you can only beat what's in front of you. Birmingham are on the run. They haven't lost a game since November, I think I read somewhere. So meeting a club in their home turf on a run like that is never easy. So with our 9 changes, it was a calculated risk, and I'm sure Dan Burn would have gotten a rest if we had a cover for him. We don't really have any more players. There's no Botman, and Kelly's just left. So I think he could have done with a rest as well. But he did get some minutes in the end. I hope he's not too injured. We really can't afford a lot of injury, and that's probably my biggest worry after this game. However, I was mostly impressed with the likes of William Osula. I know this is a 2-tier team lower than us, but he freaked them out. They were always 2 on him. He made the 2 assists. Surely he wanted to score one of them for sure. But I think he had a decent game, and he's slowly easing into it, and good that he's not taking on too much responsibility. But I think he's shown versatility that I haven't seen of him before. Being able to be on the right flank if needed. So as a complete backup player, I think he's shown us a little bit now. But he's not a proven Premier League player because he hasn't been playing a lot of minutes. So I can't really judge him on Premier League standards until he gets the 90-minute game whenever that time comes. Tonali, it's nice to see that we're sharing the load, the workload, and I thought it was a good move to give them both 45 minutes. It was a decision already planned, so I think Tonali changed the game. And with regards to Jacob Murphy, he should have scored that last goal. One thing I wanted to say, I mean, Joe Willock had a great game, and this is how you answer any sort of discrimination in the game or anywhere in the world. This is how you answer it. You go and score 2 goals in the next game, and full support always, and very sad. And I must just say, any sort of prejudice like that belongs nowhere in sports or anywhere else in the world. So good on you, and he deserved the man of the match for me.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll finish with the ads tonight. So I'm going to give you first choice on this, Ian. The next 3 games Newcastle have got in the Premier League. What a tasty fixture list this is. Manchester City away on Saturday. Nottingham Forest the following weekend at home. And then on the Wednesday, Liverpool away. Okay, then, I'm going to ask you all, how many points, Ian, do you expect to get from those 3 games?
6.
6 for you. Where we're going to drop the points then, Ian?
I can't see us getting any points away to Liverpool, if I'm being honest. But I think we'll win the other 2. I might be right. I hope I'm wrong, but I just think that I think it'll be a close, hard match. But I think they'll probably just do us at their place. But I think we'll do them at Wembley though.
Okay, 6 points for Ian. Pablo.
I'm going to trump Ian and say 7. I'm going positive. I think we'll purely because I've managed to get some tickets. I'm going on Saturday against Man City, so they're obviously going to win. Well, that's in my mind anyway. So yeah, I think we'll edge City on Saturday because I want to see Guardiola have a full-on meltdown in front of me, and I'll tell him to stay humble. I'm not bothered. And I think we'll beat Forest at home. I think that could be the trickiest game, and I think we'll get a draw against Liverpool. That's me being positive.
Okay, I've gone for 7 points. That's what I said on the professionals. So, George.
7. I think 7 as well. We'll get a draw at Liverpool and we'll win the other 2. Forest could be the more difficult of the ball, strangely enough. But if we do to them what we did to Arsenal the other night, Forest should be ours as well. We could frustrate them. 7, Steve. I seriously do think, in an optimistic mood that I usually am. 7, I wouldn't surprise me if you got 7.
Got to watch that danger, man. Chris Wood. Barry.
I was going to say before, Steve, what do you think now? He's got almost the same goals as Isaac. And you just think
he's a legend, Barry. You know what I think of him? It's Supermac who couldn't stand
What
him.
a legend.
No, the wonder Supermac's been off. He's worried. He's worried about coming back on.
I don't want to be negative. I'm going to say realistically, I think we'll get 5. I think we'll draw against City and Liverpool, and I think we'll beat Forest. I would love it if we beat City, but Guardiola's the master tactician, and I know they've stumbled a couple of times, but I've just got a feeling that'll be a draw, and I agree with the lads. I can't see us beating Liverpool down there. So I'll go with 5, but I think we'll be unbeaten in the 3, hopefully.
Okay, Darren.
Ooh, I'm going for 3 points.
Oh, miserable fucker.
I was going to say 1 point. I was going to say 1 point, but I'm going to be some sort of positive. I'm going to say 3 points.
1.
So you're going for 3. Are you going for 1 win or are you going for 3 draws?
1 win.
Wow.
1 win.
1 win. Okay. 1 win. Jeff.
I wrote 7 points down out of nervousness. Though I think Forest is the interesting game. That's going to tell us a lot as to where we are at the moment. Because, woods, trees, not being able to see the woods for the trees and over there in Forest, it's very confusing. They've done very well from nowhere. And, well, apart from breaking all the rules and buying lots of players.
Hey, well, 7 points. Okay. Tom?
Well, I think with Dan Byrne maybe out for the next 3 weeks, that changes how I view things. I thought 5 at the back against Arsenal was brilliant, and I think that would have set us up really nice for these next, at least 2 of those 3 matches, but I think even all 3 matches. So if he's out and we're going to go back to the 4-3-3, I'm not as confident. So I'm going to share Barry's pick. I'm going to go 5 points. I think we'll actually get the win away at City, and then the other 2 draws. To be honest, it's being optimistic getting the draw at Liverpool on a short rest like that on a short week. So, but I'm going to go 5.
Okay, Magnus.
Yes, I am thinking of the same 7 points, but in a different sort of way than that most are thinking. I'm thinking the draw will be against Nottingham Forest, and we'll beat the other 2.
Interesting. Okay, Martin.
Yeah, it's hard
Please
to
say
call.
9.
I
Please
think 5. I think, and where I think we'll get the 5, I think we'll beat City because I think they can't defend for shit, and I think I think if we set up the same as we did against Arsenal for the City game and the Liverpool game, I think we could get something out of both of them. So I'm going to go for a win at City, and I'm going to go for a draw against Forest and a draw against Liverpool. But goals in both of those games.
Goals in both of those games. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting run of fixtures. Let's finish up on VAR. George, just to talk about VAR over the last few weeks we've been talking about controversial decisions. What's your feelings about competitions having VAR in certain rounds and not in others? Is it fair, George? We've seen some interesting ones over the weekend.
No, it's not fair. It's not fair. It goes against the basic principle of the FA Cup, which is the oldest competition in the world. And the idea is that every team that goes into the FA Cup starts the same, has the same rules, same conditions, and the FA have completely and utterly messed it up by allowing VAR in some matches and not in others. It either has to be all or nothing for me. It just makes a mockery of the whole thing. And with us, like yesterday with us, we didn't have it because Birmingham's a League One team. That's a nonsense. It's either got to be all or nothing for me. So I think they've made an absolute mess of it. They continue to mess with it and make it worse, in my view. I mean, what was that rubbish on Wednesday night with the referee telling that number 14 was offside? What difference the hell did that make? I want to know what happened to the 5 minutes they were talking to Stockley Park. What was Stockley Park telling them? That's what I want to hear. Because if you had cricket or you had rugby league, tennis, you would hear that. You would hear all of that. When football, we're not allowed to hear it. And until they do, VAR is a dead one for me. The other one is that this morning one of the channels played Virgil van Dijk's last 7 serious fouls. When I mean serious, he was breaking noses like he did with Gordon up here and knocking people's teeth out and all the rest of it. Not once did VAR bring him back. Now, if that doesn't tell you something about VAR, it should. So until they actually do something about making it an even playing field, you can keep VAR. I don't want to know about it at the moment.
VAR, Darren, played its part, of course, at the weekend. I mean, you mentioned how on earth the linesman could see that decision, but I mean, Man United, Leicester, controversial decision there as well.
Exactly. If VAR was getting used, Man U would be knocked out. Could have been out of the FA Cup. So I kind of think it should have been from. Yes, if the other clubs can't do it in the lower rounds, just bring in the third round. They've got to get the technology somehow. The best part of the championship grounds are all Premier League standard, last I believe, or I've heard. So I think it should be in from the start. I'd say where Easter bar, but I do think it should have been brought in from the start of the competition. that's the third round. That's the third round. It's unfortunately times are changing. Now the FA Cup's got a history, but times are changing unfortunately. And the Premier League, that's changing. So it's coming in. We're kind of doing now. It's in now. So we're kind of do. No, I just want to see this virtual thing come in quicker because I think that will help the game instead of like doing lines and shit like that. Pardon my French, Ian. No, I don't want to just swear. So bring the virtual in quicker. I think that'll solve a lot of problems straight away because like they're doing lines. It's bollocks, isn't it? So I think it should have been in by the start of the tournament or the third round if the clubs can do it. What grounds can do it. So that's my opinion.
All right, what did you make of the VAR situation, Tom? Strange to me.
Yeah, it's really strange. I agree with George. If there was goal line technology, I'm all for that. That's the one that I like. Anything that's related to VAR, I was really a supporter of it when it came on board. But I thought that would help to level the playing field between lower teams and the big six, who always seem to get the benefit of the referee. Well, VAR doesn't do that either. I mean, VAR, I think, if anything, made the gap wider between calls. Every time that Salah gets in the box, he's going to get a penalty. We just know that. And whether the ref calls or the VAR calls, it doesn't matter. He's going to get the call. So I hate VAR because it didn't do anything and it slows down the match. So I think that, especially in the cup competitions, I wish they would just scrap it.
Martin, controversy at the weekend, but yeah, it's strange, isn't it? We always get it in the later rounds. So the fifth round VAR comes in, I believe.
Yeah, I don't think it has any place in the cups. I'm like George. I don't think it should be in the FA Cup or any of the cups or any of the cup finals. If I'm honest, I think, you go donkeys back. We never had half of these problems, and it was a flowing game, and the striker had the benefit of the game. The goal that Isaac scored against Arsenal, 5 years ago before VAR, that goal would have been given. He'd have been onside, and you would have had a goal. So I think it does spoil a lot of the game. No disrespect, Tom, but this whole thing of announcing what's happening in the middle of the game is just for, unfortunately, the American cartel that own a lot of Premier League clubs, and I don't like it. So for me, I'd scrap VAR across the whole thing. And the biggest issue for me, I get that, with some decisions it's the right thing and they're looking at lines, but the biggest problem with it is the people using it and the inconsistency. The system itself works. The problem is inconsistency, and when you've got inconsistency, it grows frustration. So for me, because of that, and because of the fact it hasn't improved in the last 2 or 3 seasons, I just think it should be knocked on the head, and the game should go back to the referee calling the game, and the on-field decision stands. And I think fans would appreciate it more, and you get the flow of the game and the goal celebration and everything else. I think it's all a bit nonsensical for me, but the inconsistency has killed it. So if you can't get over the inconsistency, then you have a system that doesn't work. So ditch it.
Ian?
I'm
in.
I just think that it's being used for the wrong reasons. A lot of the time, I'm not going to go down the massive conspiracy theory route, but it seems to be used to the aid of the Red Cartel a lot. I think decisions seem to go in their favour a lot more than other teams. Let's put it that way. It's frustrating. I'm going to say what I don't understand, but I probably do understand. But what I can't see is why they would push back against using AI for line decisions when it is as clear as that. AI will give you 100% that ball's over the line or it's not over the line or whatever. They push back against offside for the offside decisions. And the only thing I can come to in the end of that is they're pushing back against using AI because it stops them having the power to influence games. And I know I might be wrong, but it's just we're seeing this happening week in, week out now, where certain teams like the Dick Van Dyke taking people's heads off every week and not getting a yellow card even. It's a bit daft in it. So yeah, I would say at the moment it's not fit for purpose because the people using it aren't using it correctly.
Pablo, it's interesting, isn't it? As you say, we have VAR in some rounds and not in others. It's confusing, I think, for most people why they do this.
I want to laugh at Ian. I'm not going to go down the conspiracy route, but here's a conspiracy. I love it. And they're playing red, by the way. But yeah, no, as regards VAR, for me, it's always open. For me, there's almost a VAR watching the VAR. So they'll make a decision, then it gets manipulated by the big brother in the sky. So I would kind of back off what Ian's saying. It isn't used consistently. And to have a VAR in certain games, but not certain rounds, and at certain grounds and not, you just open yourself up to a can of worms. And that goes with anything in life. You've got to have a blanket cover to everything, so everyone feels within reason fairly well represented. But yeah, it's absolutely. I mean, the guys sat around the FA table. Surely one of them must put their hand up and think, "I think this is a bad idea, Bob." But they don't seem to be doing that. So for me, mate, I mean, I'm a purist. I would personally love, and I'm sure some of you lads would, if VAR completely left the game and never come back. And as regards the goal line technology stuff, tennis seems to use Hawkeye very well. You know, there's never any kind of ins and outs or whatever. It's either in or out. So why we can't implement tennis's version of Hawkeye into our game, whether it be AI or, you know, a proper fair computer, then that baffles me. But yeah, as regards VAR, mate, we've been running this now for a few seasons on the premise that it's going to get better. It's going to get better. We're just learning about it. It's going to get better, but it hasn't. In actual fact, it's probably declined. So for me, mate, I'd chuck it in the bin, never to be seen again.
Yeah, Barry, I agree with Pablo. It's getting worse, VAR. I just think as well, referees, when there isn't any VAR, are so reliant on VAR, Premier League referees in particular, that when there's no VAR, they're actually now not as capable of doing the job as they were before VAR, if you get where I'm coming from.
It's like having a safety net, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, they call them Live VAR pool for a reason, not to join in Ian's insinuation.
Not conspiracy.
For me, any form of technology that you've got that can affect football, and you're going to introduce it in a cup competition, you shouldn't be bringing it in for 25% of the matches and not for the other 75%, no matter what it is. You can't. It's like saying, right, for the 75% games, not including Premier League teams, you can use a certain football. But for the 25% of the games that are Premier League teams, they can use the Premier League footballs.
There's no finance issue, Barry, is there? There's not.
You can't have different rules. George is spot on. It should be the same rules no matter what. And if the lower league teams in the FA Cup or the non-league teams who start at the very beginning can't have VAR, then nobody should have it. Because it's
the whole point of the FA Cup, Barry.
Exactly. It's meant to be fair for everybody. And it's not. It's the same with the rule that they've chucked away the replays. I totally disagree with that. There's so many cup games in the history of the FA Cup that have been amazing because of replay after replay after replay. While lower league teams have busted gut and they've done amazing to get a replay at a big team's ground or whatever. They're making these rules up to suit themselves, and it's damaging the game. I mean, the FA Cup is the biggest competition in the world, or the biggest cup competition in the world, and they're making an arse of it. It's just like, you shouldn't have, unless you can find a way of incorporating it at every ground in some way or shape or form, leave it alone. Don't have it. Use it in the Premier League if that's what you want, or whatever, where every club can use it. But otherwise, it's not fair. It's not fair across the board.
All right, Jeff.
Well, let's get back to first principles. It's a universal game. They all play with the same rules, and that's the beauty of it, right? We can all play football, but as soon as you start introducing special technologies and different rules and specialized things, it spoils it. It's not the same game. And I don't want to see it in cup competitions. There's no reason for it. Get rid of it. Have it shot. And is there a conspiracy? Yeah, I think there is. I'm quite happy to say there's a conspiracy, and there's a big evil pit called Manchester, which seems to, when you follow the money, it all ends up in Manchester. And I'm
building stadiums.
Yes. Well, they're redeveloping it as sort of rodent sanctuary, I believe, sort of wildlife sanctuary for rodents in the centre of town.
Lend them your rug.
Good stuff, Jeff. Finally, Magnus, your views on this VAR?
Yeah, no, I think it should be either all in or all out. You know, we're no bigger than the sort of the smallest club that competes there. So if the smallest club cannot provide it, then no one should. You know, so it's about even platform or playground for everybody. And I thought it was quite liberating to watch a game without VAR. And I think the goal technology, I thought that was absurd. Why not use that, even though the VAR wasn't there? But I think, and also either all in or all out as well. You know, why don't we use the artificial intelligence if we are having all this human error from behind the screen? You know, take it all the way then, and give that a shot to see if the AI can do any better. You know, because it shouldn't be a human decision then. But also, I want to mention, I want to scrap it all together. I want to mention that before they brought this on, just about 95% decisions were being done correctly. So with the VAR, they just lost all the confidence, and they are much more scared in making the on-field decisions. So I think it's ruined the game, and I want it out of the game altogether.
Great stuff. The clock has beaten us. Thank you to Magnus, to Jeff, to Baz, to Pablo, to Ian, to Martin, to Tom, to Darren, and to George. Thanks to everybody for watching. Apologies that it wasn't live. But, at least you got an hour. All right.
Go to Wembley!
See you next
Cheers,
week,
lads.
A big thanks to all our sponsors, Skips and Bins. Say hello to low-cost waste disposal with pay-as-you-go and contract waste management. Find them at their website, skipsandbins.com. Contact them, www.skipsandbins.com/contact. A big thanks to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. You can find them at their website, mrvickies.co.uk, email info@mrvickies.co.uk, or telephone 01768 210 102. A big thanks to our fanzine sponsor, United Group Travel. 2 crew, driver and courier, local family company, 3-star plus quality hotels and no interchanges. All excursions included. Find them at their website, www.unitedgrouptravel.com. Email them at beverly.ugtl@gmail.com. Telephone 01670 632 460 or mobile 0791 666 4174. Just £30 per person deposit. There are no strangers on our tours, just friends you haven't met yet. A big thanks to Media Arts for all the help with the technical side of things. You can find them at their website, media-arts.co.uk. If you want to listen to us as a podcast, you can go to Sports Social Podcast Network. You can also find us on iTunes, Spotify, and your other podcast providers. If you want to help support the channel, hit the thumb up, which is the like button. Click share to share to your other social medias. Click join to join the channel. And click the subscribe button. We've also got links in our description for buy us a coffee and to be a Patreon member. Some events coming up. An afternoon with Sir Les Ferdinand, 6th of April, 12 till 4. Tickets available from ticketmaster.co.uk. No Covers takes place at the Cluny, Lilac Lane, Ryder and the Chris Norris Band. Tickets from theclooney.com or by telephone in 0191 230 4474. An evening with Steve Howie and Steve Watson, hosted by Joe Allen, takes place at the Tyneside Irish Centre on the 27th of June. Tickets for that are from newcastlelegends.com.
An Evening with Peter Beardsley and Chris Waddle takes place at the Tyne Theatre and Opera House on the 23rd of January 2026. Box office 0844 246 1000 or website tynetheatreandoperahouse.tv. An Evening with Bad Manners takes place on Friday the 30th of January 2026 and tickets available from ticketmaster.co.uk. And we have copies of The Entertainers 1992 to 1997, Kevin Keegan's Legacy, available from newcastlelegends.com.